All right, and we are live. Hello, movie lovers, and welcome to the show. I have Rossie McCree back on with me again. We're going to be doing our Scarface review. I've been dying to do this for a while. I'm just glad that I actually have someone that actually likes Scarface just as much as I do. Say hello to everyone, Rossie.
Hello, everyone. Happy to be back on the show.
It's actually great to have you back on. And matter of fact, she's going to be back on the 17th when we do our Christmas movie review
Yes,
or
can't
Christmas
wait.
story review. So,
Yes.
So this movie takes place in 1983. This is actually a remake of the 1931 Scarface. I haven't seen the 1931 version, but I might just go on ahead and check that one out just to compare the
Nice.
two.
Yes.
Another thing that I actually want to mention, the first half of this episode and everything is actually going to be a little bit of trivia about it and maybe three little key things with that, and then we'll get into our review and get ready for some Tony Montana impressions for me. So, without further ado, let's go on ahead and do this. So,
All right.
let's see here. A matter of fact, this was actually supposed to be close to a rated X movie.
Was it?
Yeah, the MPA had to try and make them, you know, take out certain things because let's see
Okay.
here when director Brian D. Palma submitted the film to the MPAA, they gave it an X rating. He then made some cuts and resubmitted it. In the second go around, the film was given an X rating. One of the reasons apparently being that Octavio the Clown was shot too many times.
Really? Because
Yeah,
of that.
yeah. Well, it's the
I figured it was
80s,
because the whole movie was super violent, that.
right? But yeah, it was definitely a violent movie. I really like this film a lot. I love the opening with Tony. We don't know much about Tony at all. All we know is the fact that Castro released these refugees into the
Yes.
United States, part of Florida, and now they're going into interrogation mode where they're actually interrogating the foreigners and stuff like that into our country. And I like the opening thing. He goes, so tough guy. Where did you get that scar? He goes, what scar? How could the fuck did I get a scar eating pussy like this now? So, um, but
That was good.
thanks. But yeah,
Uh-huh.
he's like, so where did you get that beauty mark, tough guy eating pussy? He goes, how the fuck did I get a scar eating like pussy, man? He goes, let me
I
ask you
love that.
something. Right. I love that opening scene.
Yeah.
And you can definitely tell Al was into his character and glued into that character because he was not taking a shit from
No, he
that.
was great. He was great.
He's really great.
And when you see
Um,
that opening, for me, I mean, right there, I mean, of course, you see the opening, what's going on in Cuba and everything. But then when he gets before he comes to America and he's in that room, like you said, welcome to Tony Montana or introduction to Tony Montana,
mhm,
um, you're gripped from that point on. You want to know more about the character, the movie. You're in for the ride, basically. You're in for the ride,
yeah,
and it's an awesome ride.
you're definitely glued into it. You're in for
Yes,
the ride for 2.5 hours and 42 minutes, which doesn't even feel like a 2.5 hour movie once this movie starts.
yeah,
And then it goes into the whole deal where Tony wants more. He wants the American dream and everything
yes.
because he's been in that whole entire battle in Cuba
Uh,
and everything where he's been controlled by Castro. He wants out of that kind of lifestyle and everything to where, he was also an assassin because we actually know that for a fact because of the tattoo.
yep, and he
And
got the green card because he
yeah,
assassinated the what was it, the Cuban official, and that's
yeah,
how he got his green card to come to America.
yeah.
Yes,
So he gets his green card through Frank, and
yes,
because that's actually who Manny winds up telling, hey, look, man, we're gonna have to go on ahead and kill this guy so we can get our green card. And so Tony does it. They get their green card, but he thinks
yep,
that's going to be it. He thinks that's going to set them,
yes.
and it doesn't. He's just a cook and everything at this diner, and he
That's
goes,
right.
"I'm getting," and "I'm getting sick and tired of this, man. I'm getting sick and tired of doing these fucking dishes and everything. I'm tired." And Manny's like, "Easy, man, easy." He go and he goes, it's gonna take. Manny is like the chill, relaxed dude that you actually want with you.
Yes.
Where he's
Keeps
not
him
so
calm.
hostile.
Yes. He
Right.
can talk sense to Tony. He's the only one that Tony actually will listen to, like you said. It's his best
Right.
friend. I believe they grew up together. So
Yeah.
yeah.
That's another thing I really liked was the chemistry between them two, and then also two. There's actually another thing I liked. It's kind of like he's like a consigliere, if you think about it.
Manny, yes.
Yeah. And also too, I like how he went from rags to riches,
Yes.
Tony and Manning together,
Yeah.
and
Yes.
also too, he's actually looking at the lifestyle of the rich and everything. He's like, I want to be that. I want to be that, chasing that American dream to where I can be
Right.
rich.
Right.
But it's like, how do I get from being a cook to
To that.
going right here? And you can definitely tell that struggle just between the eyes and the no dialogue or anything.
Yep. Absolutely. Absolutely. I think the scene. We'll talk about it first. The iconic scene. I think everyone knows the bathroom scene where
Yes.
they're going to hook up Tony and
Yes.
Manny and the other friend. I forget the other friend's name, who
Ah,
actually gets killed in the motel room.
right.
And that's when you have the famous scene of you think
Yes.
that Tony's going to be, killed by the help me out here, John, the chainsaw.
The chainsaw.
Chainsaw, folks. Chainsaw, sorry.
Right. No, it's
So
okay.
that's like, I think your big first iconic scene in that bathroom, which was let you know where this movie is going to go.
Right. But another thing though too that I actually want to get to as well, because before we get to that, we actually have to get to
Okay.
the fact is how do they get to this point? How
Absolutely.
do they get?
Absolutely.
And basically, Manning goes, "Hey, look, I know a guy that can actually set us up," and that's when we're first introduced to Omar, which is also
Yeah.
Frank's bodyguard. And
Okay.
at first, he doesn't like the money that Omar is actually dishing out. I think it's like $500 or something along
Mm-hmm.
those lines. Something that is not up Tony's thing. He goes,
Mm-hmm.
no, thank you, man. I don't want that fucking shit. He goes, I can fucking make that over at Cuba. So, so
Sorry.
it's okay. But but like I said, I mean that's what he does. So he goes, okay, tough guy, you want real money? I'll go on in and give you real money.
Right.
So we have a job for you. And so he has to go ahead, pick up the cocaine,
Yeah.
and also to give the money over to this other drug dealer.
Yes.
And then Manny and him are all in the car. They're all talking about women and everything
Yeah.
else.
Yeah.
And Manny's distracted, of course, like
Yeah.
he always is.
Yeah.
And they go upstairs. Him and his friend goes upstairs to see what's up and everything. They knock on the door. The girl's actually watching TV, acting
Yep.
like that she's just innocent little Ida
In the
and
bed,
everything.
just chilling. Yep.
Right. And next thing you know, his friend gets chained up to the bathroom, like you said. The
Yep.
chainsaw comes out, and that's when the tension really builds with
Oh my.
that, because you're thinking, oh shit, is Tony actually going to make this out alive?
Exactly. Exactly.
Because it could
And
very easily have been if you actually think about it,
okay.
though, it could have easily been about Manny and his rise to power rather than Tony, if Tony would have been
Yeah.
killed, which would actually have 2 hours into that film,
Yeah.
if you actually think about it.
I hear
But
you.
Al Pacino's an A-list actor, and he also came off of The Godfather, so there's no way that they would actually kill his character off that quickly.
Yes. But it
But what's
feels like it. Like you think that it's going to happen, though. You know what I mean? You're
right.
thinking that there's no way out of it, and then I think what things go bad. The woman pulls the shotgun, or maybe I'm going ahead too fast. I'm jumping around too fast. You go ahead. Get it.
No. You're actually raising a good point. She turns up the TV
Yeah.
to where they can't hear anything.
Yeah.
And then Manny is over there flirting with these girls
Oh
on
God.
skates with on
Absolutely. Yeah. The
bikini.
two bitches. Sorry, guys, but
And
yes,
yeah,
two bitches. Yes. Sorry.
and he's over there flirting with them and wants to make out with them. The girl winds up just almost slapping him pretty much, and
Yeah.
then she rolls away. And then
Yeah.
Manny's looking and thinking, okay, it's taking a little too long for them to be coming out of there.
Yeah.
So what they do is they go on ahead. Him and his friend, who's actually in the car, goes up the stairs to knock on the door. Well, they don't even knock on the door; they just barge
No.
in.
Yeah.
And I'm actually surprised. They have Uzis in their hands,
Yeah.
automatic weapons. Manny, his friend's actually smart. He has a vest, so he's kind of got it tucked in. Manny is
That's right.
just hiding
The little
it in
short dude.
between them and
Yeah.
walking beside his friend. So it's kind of noticeable, but kind of not noticeable.
Yeah.
But still, they go up there, and at that point, the woman who's just being innocent and everything, who's
In
the
the
drug
bed
dealer,
watching TV.
watching TV, she actually pulls out an automatic weapon too,
Right.
and then she starts. Then they wind up shooting her.
Right.
But the thing that I really liked is the fear that they actually showed on Al Pacino's face and everything. Like, oh shit, I'm not
Yeah.
gonna make it out. And
Right.
then, of course, his friend dies. They get out of the place,
Right.
but when he makes that phone call to Omar, this is some of the small things I was actually noticing.
Okay.
But when he tells Omar that he has the cocaine, the yayo, it seems like
Right.
he was surprised to see him alive and that he has the cocaine. I have a feeling that Omar was trying to kill Tony way before that. I had a feeling it was a setup, and he was
And
not
that's a
even
good
supposed to.
point that you bring up. Yeah, that's a very good point. It could have been
Right.
all been a setup because, I mean, how would he have made it out? In Omar's eyes, there's no way he's gonna make
Right.
it out because he knows who's there and what they're planning on doing. It was a hit.
Right. Exactly. And also too, Omar on the phone, he goes, "You got the cocaine?" Question mark. Not
Yeah.
like not like exclamation point
Yeah.
happy that he made it out alive, but question
Yeah.
mark.
Right.
You made it out alive. So that tells me
Right.
that Omar had a plan from the get-go to get rid of Tony. Whether it
Yeah.
was Frank's decision or not, Omar did not like him because of the fact he talked back to him.
Exactly.
Because remember, Tony said, "Get the fuck away from me. I do not want to hear that shit about $500 or anything like that. I want real money."
Right.
So that's a
Yeah.
disrespect towards Omar.
And I never thought
So
about that. You bringing that up. I mean, like you said, there's small things that you were able to catch that you really didn't. I really didn't think about it.
I didn't think
Like
about
you
it
said,
either.
the question.
Right. I didn't.
You got
Right.
it. You know.
Right. Exactly. And whenever I first saw the movie, I was not thinking about that. When I saw it several other times, I didn't think about that. But as a
Exactly.
movie
Yeah,
reviewer, I had a different perspective. I'm
I
like,
get you.
wait, I did not catch that the first go round or the several other times that I saw this movie. So I thought that was really interesting. Um,
Absolutely.
so I'm gonna so I'm gonna let you go into detail about the scene where Tony meets Frank for the first time.
Oh yeah. So when Tony meets Frank, he goes into his house. It's beautiful. I mean, it's this beautiful. Would you say like a glass house? It looked like.
Yeah.
And he's sitting there on the couch, and Frank's the man, that Tony wants to be. So he's sitting there, and we'll also introduce LV, who, because Frank has it all, the beautiful girl, the blonde,
Right.
all that stuff. So he's sitting there, and when Frank's talking to him, he's kind of, what I got from it, he's kind of shocked that Tony's like this guy, you know what I mean?
Right.
Mouthy, opinionated, but very ballsy,
Right.
and it kind of takes Frank back. Like, who the fuck is this kid?
Right.
Who is this
Exactly.
guy, But I think that Frank sees that he's loyal and kind of wants to put him to the test to let him work for him to see what this guy's got, if he does, if he has the kahunas that he says he has. And I think that when Tony walks in there and sees what Frank has, and then sees the beautiful woman walking up the stairs and coming down the stairs in that beautiful gown,
In
introducing
the
Michelle
elevator.
Pfeiffer as Elvira,
Yeah, Elvira.
who Elvira, that's what he wants. That's his world, and he wants to take it away from Frank. So they decide to do business,
And you see,
and
that's
that's an
something else I'm gonna
awesome
bring up.
scene. Okay.
But no, keep on going. I'm
Oh no,
uh
but that's the scene. I mean,
okay. All right.
yeah,
But not only that, but Frank also has an elevator, so he's seeing this woman going down
that's right.
the thing too.
That's
And
right.
I love the music that it actually plays because it also fills in like a fantasy of Tony as well,
Yeah,
where he's a beautiful, elegant woman who was Frank's
absolutely.
girlfriend,
Right.
wanting that life and
Yeah.
wanting Frank out.
Right.
But we
Beautiful
didn't get to
home,
that in the
everything. Yes. And I
but
think that even in that scene, that even when Tony meets Frank, I feel like he sized them up like, you really don't know me.
hmm
You know what I
I can see
mean?
that.
Tony's attitude, you really don't know me. Wait till you know me. You know what I mean? And
Right.
so, two people sizing each other up. But yeah, the elevator that she's in and out of. Absolutely. And walking back and forth. And yeah,
Oh,
smart
my
mouth
aunt's
a
like,
little bit.
hey, Aunt Rose. She said,
What did she say?
oh, she said, excellent movie. It's a classic.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Um, but another thing though, too, you actually got to expect that because Tony is actually an outsider looking in. So of
Right.
course he's going to be rough. Of course he's going to do that because he also too
Yes.
think of it like this: when you go to prison, you're the odd man out because you're the new guy. So in order for you to actually not be taken advantage of, you have to act tough and be tough.
Right.
And that's what Tony was doing. He was acting
Yes.
tough, and he knows he's
Right.
tough. He knows he can back it up too.
Yeah.
But it's also going to show that, hey, look, Frank, I'm not a pushover either.
Yeah.
I goes, I got the Yale. I also got half of your money. I'm
Right.
loyal. I got this. And then
Right.
Frank is. I think that Frank was excited too because of the fact that he made it out. But I don't think he had any clue that Omar did that because at that point he was actually excited. He looks at Omar for a second
Mm-hmm.
and everything. He goes, I heard that you almost didn't make it out, and then it cuts over to Omar.
Okay.
So, so it leaves you open to speculation. Either number one, Frank ordered a hit, or he's disapproved by what Omar did, and it
And
didn't
Omar's
work.
like super jealous of you can tell that
Mm-hmm.
Omar, it's a jealousy thing that he has, you know, um, with Tony. He doesn't obviously he doesn't like him because of the first meeting. I do now that you bring it up, I do feel that it could have been a setup, and I think that he didn't want Frank to do work with Tony, like like that, just that jealousy thing. You know what I mean? Like
Right,
he's the next guy to Frank. You know what I mean?
right, and
Omar.
also
Omar.
too, right, right, and Omar's threatened by him because he was always Frank's right hand man and
Yes,
everything, and now Tony's slowly taking that away from him.
exactly.
And also too, if you actually, I love Michelle Pfeiffer's
Yeah,
line though with Frank.
yeah,
Because where are we going, Frank? And she rolls her eyes up
yeah.
in the
Little
air and everything.
attitude.
And Frank is like George Jefferson. He's like, we're going to the Babylon Club, and and
Who is
and
played by the way, Frank was played by Robert Loggia.
yeah, Magia, I believe that's
Loggia.
actually how you say it.
Okay.
But I love the line that she gives him. Well, Frank, everybody would know where you're at because you go there all the time if they want to whack
Absolutely.
you.
Very true.
And if you actually think about this, it seems like Tony repeats the same patterns that Frank does
Yes. Same
because he
spot,
goes to the Babylon. Yeah,
right?
same spot. That's
Same
also
spot,
how, right. Because
same
that's also
table.
how, right. Same table, same everything. And that's
Yes.
also how Frank knew that he could actually whack him there
Yeah,
at that
yeah.
time. But,
And I didn't think about that. Now that you bring that up, that's a good point that you brought up. The fact that Tony ends up doing some of the same things that Frank did.
right.
Yeah.
And you think that he would actually learn what not to do from Frank. But
Right.
instead, it seemed like Frank was his mentor
Yeah.
and everything on this whole
And
entire
if Frank
thing.
was safe there, he's safe there. So, you know
Right.
what I mean? Nothing's ever happened to Frank being there. So, okay.
And it's also something sentimental to him, though, too, because that's his first time actually being with people that he can actually
Yes.
trust with a little bit. But I
Very
also
true.
like it too when Michelle Pfeiffer and him are over there on the dance floor. As a matter of fact, that was going to be our gif, but it just didn't. The effects on it just didn't look right.
Okay. Okay.
So because I like when he's just bouncing, being his
Yeah.
goofball self and everything. He goes,
Yep.
hey,
And she's
lady.
doing her little
Right. The
Remember the
little
same
Lady
old
Gaga thing or whatever.
yeah. He's trying to talk to her and rap to her, and she's
Right,
just like peasant,
right.
you
He goes,
know.
hey, it looks like you haven't been fucked in a while. And she goes, easy, fuck that. What I fuck is none of your business. He goes, whoa,
Oh
whoa,
my
whoa, baby,
God.
whoa. Fuck, I'm dirty to me,
That's right.
man. And then, and then he turns around. I like it too. He goes, so where you from? He goes, and then she turns around. She goes, I'm actually from what's that state that she's from? Baltimore. Oh, Baltimore.
Okay.
And he goes, oh, you're like a peacock. And but you could tell a little bit, but she might be into him a little bit, but she's
Oh yeah,
also playing hard to
absolutely.
get
Yes.
and everything,
Yes.
which
Yeah,
I
I think
like.
she had some curiosity, you know. Come on, who's talked to her like that?
Right.
You know what I mean? No one's talked to her like that. So women like that curiosity with thugs, you know what I
Yeah,
mean? That bad boy thing, you know what I mean? And although Frank was who he was, I think at the point where Tony comes in there, kind of boring,
definitely. Especially
you
when
know?
Frank is probably doing the same repetitive shit to her and everything and not
Absolutely.
doing anything or
Yeah,
whatever. So yeah, to this is exciting to her. It's somebody new. It's a
absolutely.
mystery. Hold on, I got some other people. Missy
Okay.
Joe. She
Oh,
said,
hi, Missy
"LOL."
Joe.
My girlfriend Brandy. Hello, everyone.
Hey, Brandy.
So, another thing though too, I want to actually talk about too that I thought was actually pretty funny was it's 3 months later. He's been working for Frank. He's still not getting any ends meet or anything like that. He still feels like he's been degraded.
Yeah,
And even Omar's like, he's a fucking peasant and everything. Yeah, but you get someone like
yeah,
that under your wing, he'll be loyal. So he
exactly.
understands. Frank understands where Tony's coming from. They actually understand
Yes,
each other. They respect each other. But after 3 months, he feels like something's got to give. It's like working at a job, if you actually think about it. It's like, okay, I've been busting my ass for this boss for 3 months and
right,
everything. I still haven't gotten no raise. I still haven't gotten employee of the month or whatever. I'm still busting my balls here trying to do what I got to do.
right.
And, and it's not panning out for him.
Yep.
So, and then I also like how Manny turns around and goes, hey, man, have you ever thought about doing that? And he goes,
You
and
got that one down too.
right, and he goes, what the fuck is that, man? He goes, you know, man, and, and he goes, watch, girls like that, kind of shit. And then I like how he goes over to the kids. He goes, watch this, kids. He's gonna put this thing in it. And
Oh
then,
God.
Manny gets slapped. He goes, well, how did that work out for you?
Right, talking because then he licked his tongue out at the girl.
Yeah, he did. He
Was
did
that the
exactly
the
what he.
pool part? Yeah, where and he doesn't realize that American girls, you don't just do that to them, and yeah,
But yeah, I thought that was actually funny. And then also too, I like how he pretty much Tony actually understands. First you get the money, then you get the
yeah,
power, and then you
yeah,
get the girl.
yeah. The
Manny
women
is
will.
thinking the whole other type of way.
Yeah, Manny's just like going for it, and he's a
Right.
tall, attractive guy, and he knows that, and he's cocky. He knows that they got this new hookup, with Frank, so they're
Right.
doing all right. You know what I mean? They're doing
Right.
better than they were.
Right. They're
So he's just
comfortable.
walking around just the guy. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Yeah,
Just being a playboy type,
exactly.
1980s,
Right.
George
Shirt
Clooney,
open,
Colombian.
hairy chest, gold chain. Yeah, that dude. He's that guy.
Exactly. So yeah, he's definitely that guy. Then of course they actually have to pick up Elvira and everything.
Yes.
And she says, I'm not getting in that fucking car. I'm not getting in that fucking thing.
So the
And
yellow car with the
yeah,
the animal print seats, the
right.
animal print coverings, a
Yeah,
mess. And she's used to Bentleys and all that, and they go pick her up because they're styling in that car. Remember, they thought that they were the shit in that car until
they
she's
did.
like, So go ahead,
Mm-mm.
John.
Yeah, that's what made me laugh though. She's like, I'm not getting in that fucking car. He goes, come on,
Right?
baby. Come on. It's a class.
And
And
she's like,
then
uh-uh.
so they go to this car dealership
Right.
and Tony's like a
Right.
little kid at a toy store.
Oh
And
my
that's my
gosh, the
favorite
way he
thing,
walked around and just
right?
that guy, yeah. Yeah.
Hey baby, you like this over here?
That's
He goes,
right.
I got the bulletproof windows. I'll go on ahead and get that. And then he taps on on the car and everything. He goes, how much? How much? 45,000. Okay, done. And
Suitcase
and
out,
then
yep.
of course, you know, right then and there, and I didn't realize that he purchased that car until now,
Oh
but
yeah.
he purchased the car. So I'm like, okay,
Yep.
so he's actually making some decent money then if he's able to
Yep.
afford a $45,000 car.
And remember, it was cash. He paid cash for it.
Right, cash up
And they
front
drove
and
out of there.
everything.
Yep. Yep.
So yeah, and
And that's where
then
his relationship starts with Effie. Elvie,
right,
sorry, Elvie.
right, and I love the chemistry back and forth inside that parking lot because at that time Manny's over there going to get the car, so he's driving her back over to Frank's.
Yep.
So they have a little one-on-one time. So I have a feeling that Tony already had that planned out. It's like,
Oh,
you know what?
okay.
I'm gonna go on ahead. You go get the car, and I'll go on ahead and have some one-on-one time with Frank's girl.
Right.
So
Right.
then and then all of a sudden he goes, "You got some?" Talking about the cocaine. So they shoot up the cocaine and everything. Next thing you know, he reaches over there and just starts trying to kiss her.
Oh, that's
Like,
right. And she's like, "What are you doing?"
and she slaps him. And I'm like, okay,
Yeah.
you're doing a Manny move now. You're trying to do a Manny
Yeah. What are
move.
you doing? Slow
Which,
down.
right. But he goes, would you kiss me if I have the hat? And he has her, and and you can see that she's trying not to laugh. She's trying
Yep.
to play hard, but she knows she's failing at the same time.
Right. Because
And she
he's
goes,
being
don't you?
silly, and you gotta love it. You
Yeah,
know what I mean?
right.
He's got the hat on. He's trying to, soften or make her soften up to him, and just he's trying to take her.
Right. And then also, too, another line that I like is,
Mm-hmm.
don't you work for Frank? He goes, I like Frank. I like him a lot. But I like you better.
That's right. That's right. You better.
And I love that. And I want to mention this. It's going to go into a little bit of soprano talk a little bit,
Okay.
but messing with the boss's girlfriend is a big no-no.
Absolutely.
And Furio in the fourth season went after Camilla, which is Tony's wife, which Tony is
Mm-hmm.
also the boss. And he was
Mm-hmm.
getting ready to push him into the helicopter blades when he was
Okay.
pissing in front of the blades. He was going to push him and everything. And all of a sudden he was going for it. And of course, Tony's also drunk though, too. And of course, Furio's Italian. He's from Italy. And he goes, what the fuck are you doing? He goes, you almost fell. You almost tripped over your shoes. So,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah. So, he's definitely crossing that same pattern that Furio did
Right.
and everything. So that's the two things that I actually wanted to say that I noticed hand in hand with that.
Okay.
Then of course, another thing too, once we actually get to that point, then we actually have it to where they're meeting with what's the guy from Colombia that he's actually meeting with?
Oh, Sosa.
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 And
Yes,
right,
the guy. The guy.
right. Do you want to talk about that scene? Because I talked about the car
Um,
dealer and everything.
is this the one where they? Well, and maybe am I skipping too soon? Where they fly over to go see Sosa, and he's having lunch with Sosa
Yeah,
and
that's it.
Omar. Okay, so and that's when we get rid of Omar.
Yeah,
So he goes over to Colombia to have a meeting to meet this guy named Sosa, who is the man. And he goes over there, and he and Sosa are outside in Sosa's backyard, which is absolutely beautiful. And they're basically having a conversation about, the business, Tony, who Tony is, who Sosa is, and whatever. And I forget what happened, but Omar did something. He did something to cross. Was it Sosa? And so
yeah.
they take him up into a helicopter to show him something, to show something up in a helicopter, and they end up pushing Omar out of the helicopter and hanging him from the helicopter.
Yep.
And shows Tony, you know.
And, right. Another thing though too that I liked was, okay, Omar's also pissed off at Tony because he's making deals without contacting Frank
Yes.
first.
Yes.
That's another thing. He also
Yes.
got whacked because he was also an informant for the cops, though, too.
That's right. Okay, yes.
But I like how Tony actually breaks it down to him. Let's meet halfway in Panama
Okay.
and everything.
Go ahead.
And do it that way. And then he goes, you got the fucking satellite. You also done on that, but you also have you also have the feds. You also have everything else going down over here. You need to go on ahead. And he's bringing them to the realization they're taking a big hit as well between the Colombian government and also the United States government.
Yeah.
And everything. And with the satellites, I'm like, okay, this is the 80s and they're talking about the satellites. So I thought that was actually pretty cool that they actually brought that in.
Yeah.
And then Omar gets whacked.
Yes.
And that's when Tony goes, all I got in this world is my balls and my word. And I don't break them for no one. And I like that. I love that line. Right. And then, of course, that's when Salsa shows a message to Tony is like, if you mess with me, this is what's going to happen to you.
Exactly.
And I like whenever he also says this, he goes, I never elected him. He goes, I never trusted him from day one.
That's right. About Omar.
Right. So that happens. And then that's when the whole entire fiasco with Frank.
Yes.
And everything up inside his office.
Oh, wasn't that the one with the famous background, palm tree background, and you have the police officer there and Frank's, going to be killed. But I love the part where Tony walks in and he survived whatever, and he's got his hand in a sling, and Manny's there, and you got I think it's Nick the pig, I think the bodyguard there, whatever, and Tony's going to kill them, and Frank just comes out of himself and just starts begging and pleading, Tony, no, Tony, please, Tony, I'm your guy, Tony, you love me, Tony, please, Tony, please don't do it, Tony. And then Tony doesn't do it. He tells Manny, kill that son, and kills Frank. And then you have the detective there, the good guy who's thinking, because he's a cop, oh, this is not going to happen. So he tries to will and deal with Tony and that guy was bad. Frank was bad news. I always told Frank, you shouldn't be doing that. And then Tony just shoots him in the stomach. And the famous line, you can't fucking kill a cop, from the detective. And and that's the scene where I think the pivotal scene where Tony then starts making money and becomes that guy. He becomes Frank.
Yep. And hold on one second. Brandy, do you have that movie? Yep. Yes, baby. I have that movie. I have both additions to that movie. So yeah. But another thing though too, the cop was actually trying to put pressure on him in the club and everything too. And after he leaves, that's when Frank does the hit on Tony at that club. And he's also watching his sister though too.
That's right.
And also there's something else I forgot to mention though. After 3 months, he actually goes and visits his parents, his mom.
Yes, I forget that. Right. His sister Gina. Right.
So that's another thing I forgot to mention.
I forgot that too. That his love, like Tony's sister, is his everything, and you don't touch her, you don't mess with her, which becomes a problem in the film. Right.
And that's something that I thought that was really good, because he's trying to be the big brother. He's trying to show, hey, look, I came from nothing. Your brother's a success now. You don't have to live like this anymore. I've got you covered. I've got you. But at the same time, the mother already knows Tony's schemes. And
she can't stand them, don't like them, don't want the money. knows who he is, accepts who he is, and doesn't want that influence around Gina. And
Right.
at first, when I saw it at first, I thought, man, he's trying to be a good son. I mean, I know you know what he does, but he's giving you all this money and he wants to take care of you guys. And the mom's just like not having it. But Gina not being able to being shelved, from the world, being kept from the world and kept
Right.
innocent, and I get where her mom's coming from, made her even more curious about her brother. And she loves her brother. She absolutely loves her brother. So yeah.
Right. And then, of
Yes.
course, she's shooting up cocaine in the
Yes.
bathroom with this other guy. Tony's pissed
That's
off
right.
about that. Then,
Right.
to escalate even more, he's getting shaken down by this cop and everything. And then I
Right.
love the line that you mentioned is like, I'm not going to kill you. I'm not going to fucking kill you. I'm going to get something. Manny, kill him. So he
Yep.
kills him and
Manny, that's
everything.
right.
And of course, he's also in an arm sling, though, too.
Yes. Yep. Yep.
He has blood on him still. He's pissed off. And then
What
he wakes
about what about the scene where when they're done there, and I really love the scene where he's killed Frank, he's killed the cop, and all
right.
that's left in that room is Frank's bodyguard. And
Yep.
so, Manny's like, "What about Nikki?" And Tony's like, "You want a job?" And Nick's like, "Sure, Tony. Sure, Tony." As he, "Thanks, Tony. Gee, Tony, thank you." And I remember just watching that scene, and I watched it again today, and I'm seeing, like, you remember how scared, like, he really looked frightened. His face was like it really was happening in real life, and his hands were just shaking because obviously he should have gone too. You know what I mean?
Right.
So I
Right.
love that scene. I love that.
I do too. And you can definitely tell he shit his pants and piss his pants at the same time.
Absolutely, absolutely. But was very loyal to Tony.
Right. He was very loyal
Yeah.
until the very end.
Yes, he
you cannot
was.
deny that.
Yes, he
And
was. He was a good guy.
also love the fact that Tony bought a tiger. And I want to talk about that
Yes.
for a minute though too.
Okay.
Because think of it like this. Tony is like a tiger, no pun intended with Frosted Flakes.
Tony the
but,
Great. Yes,
but,
okay.
But he stalks his prey in the right way, if you actually think about it. He knows how to actually attack somebody without actually attacking someone. For example, Omar, he knew how to get rid of him and everything. So what does he do? He gets rid of the bodyguard first. Then from the bodyguard, he removes Frank. So it comes undone in that kind of context.
Yeah, I like that. I like that. Yeah, okay. So
like I said,
he goes and buys the tiger, and they're buying cars. I mean, the house obviously beautiful, and the scenes were and this is a scene where they're showing just suitcases, pillowcases full of money going to that one bank where of course the president of the bank knows what's going on, and they're washing money basically.
Right.
And I love that the way that they shot that, because even though you see him buying a tiger and you see him buying cars and everything, but when you see the pillowcases and bags just full of money that he has coming in, you realize how much dope he's selling. How, you know what I mean? Like, he's selling a lot of coke.
Right. He's selling a lot of coke. He doesn't know what to do with the money. And that's what Frank told him too. You're going to be making so much money, you wouldn't know what to fucking do with it, is what he told him.
That's right. That's right.
And he didn't know that he was going to be coming to power, but, he thought maybe by saying that, maybe a couple of grand or whatever. But now he's in Frank's pocket. He's making probably 10 times more money than Frank ever thought he could actually make. And even Tony told him, he goes, look, I'll make a grand here, grand there, so that way we'll actually have the money and everything. Frank didn't trust it or anything like that, so it's no wonder why Frank is not there anymore. But, then he also, too, Tony also becomes paranoid. He gets security cameras.
Yes, that's right. That's right. Yes. Because there's a van. Well, when he gets the security cameras, there's a van that he thinks is after him, or he thinks it's like the FBI, that they're, spying on him basically. Yeah. So he sits and looks at this same van just parked outside of the house. And it ended up being, wasn't like a cable van or something like that. It wasn't actually the FBI at that time though.
I think it might have. Who knows? It could have been. But he goes,
You
who the
know?
fuck? He goes, who the fuck installs cable all this fucking time
Right.
and everything? 4 fucking
And
weeks.
then he's
Four
like, it's
fucking
just a
weeks,
cable
Manning.
guy.
He goes, no, Manning, it's the fucking FBI. I'm telling you right now. And then here comes Michelle Pfeiffer powdering her nose and everything. He goes, that's all you fucking talk about is money and
Right.
everything. Well, anything beats around waiting for me to fuck you, baby. And he goes, newsflash, Tony, nothing is.
When he's in the
You're not that
bathtub
good.
and looking at the
Right.
cameras and yeah,
Right.
yeah.
And my favorite thing is, Manny goes, she leave him, man. It's okay. Let her go. Let her go. Another Quelo, she love me again.
Oh God. I'm the bad guy scene. I'm the
Right.
bad guy. Right. Yes.
Look at the
Which
face
is an
like
awesome
this.
scene.
Right. I'm gonna let you quote that one though. And everything too.
What you want me to quote what Michelle Pfeiffer says
Or
or
well, you said look at the bad guy because you never,
oh well she's like pissed and everything because of what's going on. So she starts with, you're not even a real husband. We can't go out with all these thugs hanging around all the time and I got Nick the pig as a friend. What type of life is that, Tony? I mean, look at us. Look what we've become. And he's just like,
he's miserable. He's sunken
you're
like this.
stoned.
It's
You're
like
stoned. I'm not stoned. Take her home. And then, they get rid of her and he's sitting there and he's just kind of pissed and just looking around at everyone. And he's like, what you looking at? Saying that to the next table.
right.
And they just kind of don't say anything. He's like, I'm the bad guy. Me. Because everybody needs a bad guy, right? I'm the bad guy. But you're a bunch of fucking assholes because you're scared to say anything. Not me, though. Not me. I'm Tony. I'm Tony. I'm the bad guy. And yeah, sorry.
Right.
My
Yeah,
accent of Tony.
I don't think I do a good job. That's just me though. I don't think I do a good job of Tony, but
Dude, I love yours. I love yours. But yeah,
yeah,
that's the scene of I'm the bad guy.
right.
Yeah.
And also too, another thing though too is Tony's depressed. He's at the table. He's just like miserable. He looks like he's going through his third divorce, pretty
Right.
much. He's like,
Right.
and he looks at me and goes, "So this is what it's all about, huh, man?" He goes, "Money, fucking. That's all it is, huh?" And he's questioning it like there's more to life. There's got to be more to life than this. It's more than
Right.
what he thought it would have been
Right.
back when he was poor. And it
Yes.
goes to show you, just because you live in a nice home, just because you have all the things that you've been wanting, it makes you that much miserable as well.
Yes. Yeah. Money
It
doesn't
makes you
buy you
feel worse.
happiness and
No.
all that. And he's absolutely miserable in that scene. I mean, just looking around at all the people in the restaurant, like he said, judging him, judging him. So yeah, it wasn't all that he thought it was going to be.
Right.
But he's rich.
Oh, let's see. Brandy said he looks like he was going to piss himself. That was back with Frank the Pig.
Yes.
And then your friend said Tony always had a plan. I agree on that too.
Yes.
Like I said, he knew what he wanted to do with Omar. He knew exactly how he was going to handle Frank from the get-go.
Right.
It was just all about putting the pieces together.
Right.
And then, at that point, the FBI is actually investigating him. He's been counting the counterfeit money,
right,
and everything for God knows how long.
Yeah, because they had that little camera. Yeah.
Right, in the clock.
Yes.
And then finally, they arrest Tony, and then that's when Sosa gets word of it, invites him over to his home, and say, "Look, Tony, you won't even have to do any time or anything like that. Well, you might have to do a little bit of time, but I need you to do me a favor." And that's whenever he wanted to assassinate this congressman guy in the car.
Yes. And they have all the meeting of all the people at Sosa's house, and that when he has the people there that are having a problem with this certain, I guess it's a reporter and the congressman, they're having an issue with them. And these are all the people that are, I guess, associates of Sosa. And they want to send Tony, I forget where, I don't know if it's, what is it, like Prague or somewhere or somewhere. Yeah, they want to send him over there to get rid of the reporter guy who is really making a lot of noise and bringing a lot of attention to them.
Right.
And that's where Tony messes up at, because he goes over to Prague, and he meets one of Sosa's hitmen, and this guy is like no joke. He'll kill anyone. It's no problem. Tony didn't know that they were going to kill the wife, and the kid was going to be in a car because they decided to just blow up the car. That'd be the easiest way to get rid of him. But there was a kid and his wife was in a car. And that's when you realize that Tony does have ethics, and there's things that he won't do, and he will not kill women and children. That's not his thing. So he really fucks up because he doesn't do what he's supposed to do, and he ends up killing Sosa's guy. And that begins the downfall of Tony Montana.
Right. And this is something else I like. You think that he was having a bad day then. He asked if Vera came back. She said no, she hasn't come back. Well, let me know when she does. And then after that happens, he's like, where's Manny? Because they don't know where Manny is.
That's right. Yeah.
And I like it too. I forgot to mention this. I like whenever Manny first meets his sister. Right. And then of course too, he tells him to stay away from his sister and everything. Yes, she's not for you. You need to know your place. Not only that, but also like this line too. It's all in the eyes, Chico. It's all in the eyes. I love that. But come to find out, Manny winds up marrying his sister. Yes. And everything, but he doesn't know that. He thinks that they're just sleeping together, and all Manny is just a playboy. Yeah. And everything. Because he's been gone for about a week, probably, or more.
Yeah, Yes.
And so, anyways, he shoots him. Jaina tells him, "How dare you do this to me?" and everything.
Right.
We were going to tell you that we got married, and then that's whenever he takes her back to the mansion, and then it goes downhill from there.
Oh my gosh! Yeah, Sosa's people, they come to Tony's mansion, and they're sneaking onto the property, and it's a shitload of them. And as they sneak onto the property, they're taking out Tony's bodyguards, anyone that's working for him that they sneak up on, they take them out to get to Tony. And then you have the famous scene where they show Al Pacino, Tony, sitting in his office with the just a mountain of fucking cocaine. And forget the straw, forget all that. It's just straight, just taking it in, you know?
Right.
And he's getting super high, and the cameras are on, because doesn't he see someone come onto the property, and he just sits there and just kind of didn't he sit and just kind of look? They're on his property and they're after him, and he's locked in that office. Go ahead.
Let's see, hold on. Steven Sachel said Tony was getting the WAP. And then let's see here. My aunt said bad boy Tony, but has a heart too. Yep, he definitely has a heart.
Yeah.
Another thing though too, I think he was also distracted with Gina too, because at that time Gina comes in with a bra and panties.
Yes.
So Tony, this is what you want? You wanted to fuck me? Then come on, Tony, do it. Next thing you know they have like this grapple that they're actually grappling onto to climb up to the mansion and everything.
Yes.
And then after that, she gets shot in the back from the inside of the mansion. Bodyguards are actually being taken down.
Yes, they are.
Matter of fact, what's the nickname for the other guy that
Nick the Pig? Yeah.
Yeah, Nick the Pig.
Yeah.
And he dies and everything too. He didn't even have a fighting chance to even kill anybody. The last person that actually dies before Tony is actually his best friend that was actually came to rescue him back in that hotel.
Yes, the short dude.
Yeah. The next thing you know, but I love the iconic scene, say hello to my little friend. And
yes.
But he went out blazing though. Like,
dude, they shot him so many times, and he's still just like, he's like freaking that Denzel Washington scene in Training Day when he's like, King Kong ain't got nothing on me. No, Tony Montana is just like that, and they're shooting him, and he's just killing people, and then he falls over the
Right.
banister into that pool in his
The world is
foyer.
yours.
The world is yours. Yes. Yes.
And
I hated
another
that
thing,
too.
though, too, that I actually have to respect between Sasso and Tony, they did
Yeah.
their own. They did their own taking out people. They didn't
Yes.
really actually hire hitmen unless they actually had to hire hitmen.
Yeah.
They actually had
Yeah.
the balls to kill you regardless of anything.
Right.
You know.
Exactly.
So that's what I actually have to respect about Sasso and Tony and
Yeah.
everything. They're both similar in some ways, but some ways they're also different as
And
well.
when you get to the scene where you meet him for the first time, I mean, I think as a viewer, you know, you don't want to mess with him. Yes, he did, Missy Joe.
Yep. And then Cinnamon Gold. Hey, Larry. This is Larry Neese from Cinema Gold. If you do not know who he is and everything, he actually has a little podcast and everything. It's really good. He does movie reviews
Okay.
over there.
Okay.
So check him out.
Cinema
Um,
Gold.
yep. His name
Okay.
is Larry. Yep. His name is Larry. He does a fantastic job. But yeah, I thought that the end was really good. And now if you were okay, by the way, guys, at the link below, we actually are sponsored by Audible. And because we're sponsored by Audible, we actually decided to come up with like a little fun game. Like, what book would we actually give some of these characters? So I'm gonna let you go since you're the guest.
Okay. So, I have a special book that I think Elvira should read, Tony's wife. And the book's called Declutter Your Mind: How to Stop Worrying, Relieve Anxiety, and Eliminate Negative Thinking. She needs that book.
So does
She
Tony,
needs
if you
to
actually
read
think
that
about
book as soon as she left that relationship so go back to Boston and don't ever, ever, ever get yourself in a relationship like that. Get your mind right, girlfriend. And I think that would be a perfect book for her. What about you?
it. I agree. And not only that, but Tony could actually use that though too, as
Yes, he
well.
could. Yes, he could.
Yeah. Because of all the paranoia.
Oh my
So, he
gosh,
could,
super paranoid. Yes.
so I'm actually gonna recommend Tony. I'm gonna recommend Tony two books and
Okay,
everything.
okay.
One is one of my friends that I just interviewed for his book, and that book is actually called Love, Marriage, and the Character It Builds for him.
Really? That's for Tony.
Yeah,
That's a good one. Yes.
yeah. And then I Paint Fences slash The Irishman. That's what I would actually recommend him. So
Absolutely.
those are the two books that I would actually recommend him. And you can actually pick up the Irishman book probably on Audible if you actually want to go on ahead, click that link, and subscribe for a 30-day trial. You know, you can't go wrong with some reading.
And also, you can
So,
also get Declutter Your Mind at Audible too. And I believe it's like $2 or something, guys, because we can all,
right.
use some mind therapy.
Exactly. It's a 30-day free trial. You get books being read to you. It's fantastic and everything. So go on ahead, click that link below and everything. And that's actually a good way for you to
Awesome.
support the podcast and the YouTube channel as well.
Awesome.
Let's see. Missy Joe said I can use that book. Are you talking about the love and marriage thing I talked about? Because if so, I can actually give you the link to where you can actually order that book, and I'll go on ahead and forward that over to my friend as well,
Awesome.
so that way you can
Awesome.
place your order.
Awesome.
So, anyways, another thing though too, we actually had a Scarface video game back in the early 2000s.
Yes. Yes. Okay,
And I
so
love,
it Scarface, The World Is Yours. It was released in 06 on a PlayStation 2, Xbox, on the Wii, and I think on PC. This is a really awesome game. They did a really good job with it takes the place from what if Tony had lived. So that's how it starts, and he lives. And it's just really awesome. You get to build his mansion, you get to sell drugs, you get to go to Colombia and sell drugs. John, tell them your favorite things about it really quick. You guys should really pick that game up.
okay. It's a lot of fun. Not only that, but you can also, if you have to be very quick with the bank thing too when you're trying to deposit
Yes.
money into the bank.
Right.
Otherwise, you are gonna give the bank a huge cut of the money that you actually make. And
Right.
then also too, the more you interact with people, like Rossi told me earlier before the show and everything, you interact with people, you get points for that. You can also
Yes.
too, the FBI also repossesses Tony's house. They all think that he's dead, so he's actually low keying it and everything at the very beginning. He actually starts out
Right.
a little hot, and I love that what if story. I really do. I like having to rebuild this house from scratch again. I think I came out with like $20 million by the time I was done without
Right.
cheating.
Yeah. Okay. So the first playthrough, I didn't cheat. The second playthrough, oh my gosh, dude, I used every cheat there was and had a great time. The game was just fun. I mean, you really
Yeah.
do get addicted to making money, building up the mansion, and you can buy any type of furniture you can think of and put in the
Mhm.
mansion and each individual room. It's a really
Yeah.
awesome game. So I don't think that got enough praise.
It's like The Sims, but for mature people.
There you go. There you go. That's it. That's it.
And
And they
also
can, you
too,
know what they're saying. They're not jibber jibber
right,
jibber jibber jibber. Jibber. Yeah.
right. And also too, if you're gonna swim in the open water, don't do what Rossi and I did.
Yes.
We actually got eaten by a shark, which I call Jaws. I actually named the
Right.
shark Jaws
Right.
because it was a
Right.
great white.
It is the best. It's the best. Go for a swim. See what happens.
Yeah, just go for
It
a
will
little
catch
dip
you off guard. It really will.
because it scared the hell out of me the first time. Just to be
Dude,
real.
I was freaked. And then I thought, awesome, that's so cool. They put that in the game. Like, what didn't they do? You know? So yeah,
Right.
great game.
And also too, Grand Theft Auto Vice City. They actually had,
Yes.
and let me tell you something though too. In Grand Theft Auto 3, they actually used the same music for Scarface. There was actually
Oh,
some
oh,
song.
that's right. That's San Andreas, right?
No,
No, no, no,
no.
no, no. I'm
It
sorry.
was
The
just called
first.
GTA 3. It was just called
Okay.
GTA 3. No titles
Okay.
or anything like that
Okay.
or anything.
The
And
one
then
with
and
that was a really for the first one, really, or the first one
right,
on the PlayStations, not the
PS2.
overhead view.
Yeah, it was the PS2. It was
Yes.
kind of had like a Godfather kind of flavor to it
Right.
with that
Right.
one. And then Vice City came along and it was like a Scarface edition. And Ray Loretta
Yes.
actually plays the voice of that character, which I loved.
Yes. It was
So
great.
it was really
So yeah,
awesome.
you guys will have a lot of fun with those games. But yeah, Christmas time, play some classics, and those would be good ones. Good gangster games.
Definitely. And another thing too, Rossi's actually an independent actress. And where can everybody reach you at?
You all can reach me on Instagram at McCree123hotmail.com. That's MCCREE hotmail.com. You can reach me on Twitter at Rossie Lynn Bark1 and on YouTube at Rossie Lynn.
Okay. And everybody, you guys can go on ahead and follow me on Twitter at Movie Lovers Unit. You can also follow me at John Diagorio 8. You can also follow me on Movie Lovers TV Lovers Unite on Facebook. We also have a GoFundMe page, which you can find below if you guys want to donate towards the show that way. We also have a Patreon now. We're actually
Awesome.
doing documentary movies. We're actually doing classic movies. We have a $20 tier, which my friend Charlie signed up for yesterday. Then we also have a Pinterest page, Movie Lovers TV Lovers Unite on there. We have a TikTok now, which we're actually trying to figure out how to finagle that around a little bit. So I'm not sure how I want to go about it. Maybe I might do some doing the face replacement things on there and
Yeah.
promote it that way.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that was Tamika's idea. So I can't take her thunder from that. But that's pretty much the show, guys. I'm glad that you actually stuck around. I'm glad to actually have you guys being part of the live chat. You guys were awesome. Thank you again, Missy Joe. Thank you, Brandy. Thank you to Cinema Gold, Larry. And thank you for all the love and support from the fans and everything. Without you guys, I wouldn't be doing what I'm doing or have 256 episodes recorded. But
Right.
so yeah, check that out. Check out the audio only podcast, wherever you get your podcast from. We are actually on Amazon Music now, and pretty soon, probably Sirius XM. So stay tuned for more. Always until next time, guys. Tomorrow we're doing our Dexter After show as well with Charlie.
Cool.
And it's actually called The Dark Passenger, a Dexter Morgan After Show. So you can catch that at 8 o'clock Central Time, 6 o'clock Pacific Time, 9 o'clock Eastern Time. So always until next time, guys. Bye-bye. Stay safe and wear your mask.
Yes.